The whole point of this monitor is to provide the specs you need for gaming at a price that's affordable. And I'm not talking about marketing affordability where they're like, it's only $1,000. No, actual affordability. This is the Pixio PX248 Prime Advanced. It's 24 inches, 1080p resolution, it's got a 1 millisecond response time and a 144 Hz refresh rate. And you can get it right now for $150 US. At that price point, even if it doesn't perform the best, it can still be worth considering. So let's jump into the specs and details to see how they got the price that low. First of all, let's get the world's quickest unboxing out of the way. Other than the monitor and stand, you get a power adapter. It's very bare bones and generic, probably mass produced for lots of applications, not just this monitor specifically, but they did slap their brand name on there with a little sticker to make it feel a bit more like it's supposed to be part of the package. And they do give you a DisplayPort cable. Again, the quality doesn't really stand out, but it's there, and I did use it for this review, and it works just fine. And the last thing in the package is this little torque wrench screwdriver thing. There's only one screw to turn to attach the stand, but they threw this in just to complete the whole package. So you can get everything set up without having to get your own tools or cables. So it's a 24-inch 16:9 aspect ratio IPS panel. There's no curvature, it's just completely flat. It's got a 1080p native resolution with a peak brightness of 300 nits. Response time is 1 millisecond gray to gray, and refresh rate is 144 Hz, which are actually really nice specs. It's an 8-bit panel and therefore can only display 16.7 million colors, but it does manage to extend beyond the standard sRGB color gamut. The contrast ratio is only 1000:1, but IPS panels lack the ability to hit the crazy high contrast that you can get out of a VA or OLED panel, so it's actually totally normal and expected. And it supports AMD Freesync Premium Adaptive Sync technology. At about 6.3 pounds, it feels really light for a monitor. I'm used to handling really big, heavy displays though, so maybe it's just me. The build quality is okay though. Nothing on the panel jumps out as being poor quality or poorly made, and I don't see any manufacturing defects anywhere. It's pretty much bezel free all the way around on 3 sides with a bit of a chunkier strip along the bottom, but it's still slimmer than most monitors I've used. Overall, it's nice looking, and I think it looks a bit more expensive than it actually is. I can't say the same about the stand though. This is the flimsiest looking monitor stand I think I've ever seen. It's a very basic V-shaped design and it can tilt to the front and back, but that's it. No height adjustment, no pan access, and definitely no rotation, so portrait orientation is completely out of the question here. The good news though is despite looking super flimsy, it's actually surprisingly solid and does a good job of holding the monitor perfectly fine. And there is a 100mm VESA mount on the back side of the display, so if you really want more versatility, you can look at an aftermarket stand or arm. That can be a quick, easy, and cheap way to take this otherwise budget monitor up a few notches to the next level. For connectivity, there's 2 HDMI 2.0 ports, 2 DisplayPort 1.4 ports, and a headphone jack. So you can have lots of inputs connected here and switch between them, and that's really helpful if you have like a multi-platform setup. Maybe you've got a PC, a console, and a laptop or something. It makes it really simple to swap between inputs and just have everything on one display. There are some built-in speakers, but they're only 2 watts and they really don't sound great. So for that reason, I don't recommend relying on them as your primary source of audio unless you literally have no other options. The reality is you can get better sound quality out of a really budget set of speakers or like entry-level gaming headset. The built-in menu system's easy to use, it's easy to understand, and it's easy to navigate, which I was a little surprised to see because sometimes budget products don't have the best software or menu systems, so good job there. You control it with a little joystick that's on the middle of the back of the screen. So there's the usual display settings like brightness and contrast, gamma adjustment, and color temperature, plus some extra features like black equalizer to help bring out details in really dark areas, overdrive settings, and some game assist options, including an FPS counter. If I'm shopping at this price point, I'm really not expecting any extra features, so all that stuff's just a nice bonus. When it comes to the stuff that actually matters, like gaming performance, I think it's surprisingly good for what you pay. Colors are vibrant and punchy, and it looks really good, actually. It stands out, and the motion's crystal clear with the high refresh rate and fast response time. It makes it great for fast-paced FPS gaming, which is perfect for me. I'm a big FPS gamer, big fan of the genre. It's faster and more clear than my main ultra-wide display by a noticeable amount. What it does lack though is resolution. I can clearly tell I'm looking at a 1080p screen. It's very noticeable compared to the 4K and even 1440p displays that I'm used to. But it does hit a good balance of performance and detail. It's able to deliver those fast motion specs at this price point because it's cheaper to do that on a lower resolution panel. That's just the reality of shopping for a monitor in this category. And that's where being 24 inches is actually a good thing. I prefer larger displays, but at 1080p, 24 inches is the maximum size I would go. Any bigger and the pixel density just gets too low and it starts to take away from the overall gaming experience, plus other stuff like text starts to look really bad too. So I think what we have here is the perfect screen size for 1080p gaming, and I think most gamers who value performance over resolution are gonna be happy with this. With all that good stuff said, just hang on a second before you run out and buy one. I gotta make sure you understand that it's not a perfect display. It does have its share of issues. The most noticeable one for me that I find the most annoying is the amount of backlight bleed that comes out of this thing. There's quite a bit along the top and bottom edges, and it's noticeable particularly in the dark, but also in a well-lit room. So that's quite a bit of backlight bleed, and I find it a little annoying. I don't like backlight bleed on my displays, so that's where you need to understand what you're getting into with this one. Is it a good gaming monitor? Absolutely it is. Is it a perfect gaming monitor? Absolutely not. It's actually far from it. Has its fair share of issues, but the key here is the price point. At its current price point, I think it offsets the shortcomings and makes it a display that's worth getting. There is value here, and that's what really matters. The full list of specs and details is down in the description for you, so make sure you check that stuff out if you want more details. And I'm also gonna have some purchasing links down there for you as well, so if you wanna pick one of these up, make sure you check those out. Tell me in the comments what you think of the Pixio PX248 Prime Advanced, and get subscribed for more content, and we'll see you soon.